Welcome back to Media Week. Well, we were just hearing about how online is driving a lot of the ad revenues nowadays, with the TV networks trying to get a piece of the pie. Nine Entertainment continuing to invest in the online space with its recent interest in Pedestrian TV. For more, we're joined by Evan Lucas from IG. Evan, great to have your company on the show today. So just what's behind the strategy, do you think, of Nine investing into Pedestrian TV?
I think it's probably, as you've already alluded to, a longer-term idea. It's a very small investment, let's put it pretty clear. It's only 66% at $11 million, values Pedestrian TV at around about 16. It's more the clients and the streaming and the area that it's involved in that Nine's definitely after. It has obviously a demographic of between 16 and 35-year-olds. It certainly has TV on demand that they want, and also TV access that they don't normally have around their space. So it just bolts into their Stan brand. It bolts into that idea of how they continue to look to stream online. And as you just alluded to, it's all about getting that position as we move more and more towards push-button demand and on-demand TV screening and media in that sort of description. It's a huge move in terms of where they're heading, and that's exactly what comes with Pedestrian.tv. Speaking
of that online, Netflix as well, of course, launching. How's iiNet been tracking since that agreement?
Yeah, they've been tracking relatively well. They took a big swipe at Telstra this week. Interesting about it is that they basically said that the current NBN sort of fibre to the node is certainly not fast enough for what Netflix wants and why they've seen it. But they did very clearly say that they have seen a huge upswing in their bundle package, their Fetch TV, and also the fact that Netflix has been offered as a special deal is all seeing very good revenue numbers coming through the door. It also therefore puts the TPG sort of merger talks back on the table, possibly about the idea of another bid. But it just shows how big and how strong this whole streaming service will be, and why at the moment it is such a talked about space and such a talked about thing in the media space. Watch more and more of this over the couple of months. M&A material is going to fly, particularly if all of a sudden we see Malcolm Turnbull move that reach rule. It will be a very interesting space indeed.
Evan Lucas, always good to get a snapshot from the media space from you. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
Evan Lucas from IG there. For more on all that, let's return to James Manning now. And James, talking about Nine Entertainment's stake in Pedestrian, just tell us a bit about what Pedestrian actually does so that we get a better idea of it.
Yeah, look, as Evan said, it bolts into all Nine's different things, and it really targets that younger market. Offer a lot of online video. They've also got some job listings, I think, so a bit of a careers thing, which is good for revenues too. But yeah, really gets Nine into that younger demo. And they can link up with a lot of their content, target it to that market, can watch it on the different platforms.
Yeah, OK. Let's move on to radio, because ARN's iHeartRadio has got some new initiatives this week. What do they involve?
Yeah, look, they're starting... We'll see, to date, iHeartRadio has been linked pretty much to the Australian radio brands like KISS, WSFM, the Gold, the classic hits stuff. Now they're going to try and build it on its own a little bit, so you'll hear a lot more about iHeartRadio on its own, not linked to the other radio things. They've got a syndicated chart show which is starting up on weekends, hosted by Maddie Acton. They're starting some more genre-specific channels that you'll be able to stream through iHeartRadio. I think Dance is the first one of those. They're looking at some classic hits programming as well, and of course iHeartRadio, they've got a massive resource in the US to draw on, so there's plenty of things they can do.
Already branding there, really. Now some executive movements. Let's talk about some movements this week. Mark and Carl Fennessy, firstly, exiting Shine Australia.
Yeah, look, that's a massive announcement. A lot of speculation about what those guys might do, because Shine Australia is part of this... it's all part of 21st Century Fox now, of course, and they've got a global play with Shine, with Endemol and Core Entertainment. So those three companies are forming one big giant super production company, if you like. So they're going to come together in Australia. The deal hasn't been finalised yet for what will happen in Australia, but with Mark and Carl out of the company, it makes it a little bit easier for them to appoint management to run that combined business here. Look, Mark and Carl, fantastic TV executives. Crackerjack, before they went into Fremantle Media, they were running that. They went off, they launched Shine Australia here. Carl was... sort of, if you like, taken by head office to go and work in the States. He ran the US Shine for quite a while. Mark had a big global role. After Elizabeth Murdoch sold the company back to the company, they had some equity there too. So after sort of News Corp bought Shine, and that became part of 21st Century Fox after the split, so they got a good earn out of that. They don't need to rush back into the business.
Still, it'll be interesting to see what they come up with next.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about ARN as well. Their new agency, Emotive, signed a new commercial director. Tell us about him, and also attracted some audiences with an Optus thing.
Yeah, executive movements. Andy Sinn's the guy who was at Nova Entertainment. He's come across to to work for Emotive. That's Simon Joyce's new agency, so it's a great get for them. They've been doing a lot of good stuff. They did something for Optus, promoting Optus's deal with Netflix, and they got Ricky Gervais, of all people, to host it. So it did some massive social media numbers, so it did really well for them.
And also we've had Pacific Mag's some news out this week.
Yeah, look, in style, Emily Taylor's come on as a new editor, replacing Kirsten Galliot, who's gone off to work on a Qantas magazine.
Okay, so that's Emily Taylor, who will be the new editor at InStyle.
Yeah, replacing Kirsten Galliot.
And then also they had that Celebrity Men's Health Man contest, which got a bit of publicity this week.
Yeah, it did. Look, Larry Emder won that. I think a lot of people thought he might win because he had the backing of the Seven Network behind him. So, yeah, look at his body there. Can you believe he's actually 50 years old? So he said he wanted to be... He really worked hard to get. He wanted to be fit and 50.
There you have it.
Yeah,
front cover of Men's
He's done
Health.
a great job. Be interesting to see how he looks in 12 months if he manages to hold on to that. But I think he will. He loves his exercise now.
I'm sure he quite enjoyed that cover as well.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
let's take a look now at the ratings for week 13. Now, kicking it off with free to air. And there we have it, My Kitchen Rules in there, and of course the World Cup cricket coming in second spot.
Cricket pushing that into there. That's actually not the final. That was one of the semis, because the final will get in next week's figures.
No doubt, you're right at the top there.
Yeah, I think it will be.
Let's turn the page and see the rest of the top 10 there as well. We have got, well, hopefully they'll come up. There they are. 9 News Sunday, The Block, and 7 News.
Yep, all the usual suspects. That Sunday night of The Block still doing very well for 9.
All right, so subscription television ratings now for
a lot
week
of cricket
13.
again there, Ingrid.
Of course, sport taking the top 5 positions there. Moving on to the next page, and the rest of them, sport as well. Really just selling.
Last weekend, before we see some AFL creeping into that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, speaking of AFL, it obviously kicks off this week, and that means Fox Footy Channel's back with some schedule changes as well.
Yeah, it'll be the #1 subscription TV channel between now and the end of September if history repeats itself, and I'm sure it will. And of course, their big success at the Fox Footy Channel has been the midweek shows that talk about football, as well as all the games live on weekends. So they're all back. AFL 360 is the sort of big one there. Monday to Thursdays live every night at 7:30. They had a show called The Bounce, which they moved to midweek. That's gone back to Sunday night. So that's a slight programming change for them this year.
No doubt, as you said, that'll be taking out the rating spots next week. We'll be watching.
Yep.
Now, Lifestyle Foods also commissioned Fremantle Media to make the Great Australian Bake Off. Who's involved in this?
Yeah, look, Maggie Beer and Matt Moran are going to be the judges on that, so I think that'll do very well for. It's going to be on Lifestyle Food Channel. One season ran on 9, did so-so ratings-wise for 9, but it's been picked up, and I think it'll perform a lot better with the demands of for the Lifestyle Food Channel.
And Foxtel's been out promoting their April month as a special premium drama month. We've obviously got Game of Thrones coming. What else?
Yep, you can't wait for that one, can you? No, Deadline Gallipoli is the other big one. Sam Worthington on screen, of course, and involved as an executive producer. His production company there, working alongside Matchbox Pictures. We've got lots of stuff too. Wentworth, season 3. We've got Veep. We've got Wolf Hall, a great BBC drama. We had some chat about that the week I was in the UK, and we had a bit of an interview about that. And Mad Men, the last 7 episodes, Ingrid. So that'll be well worth watching.
There you go. We'll be watching for those ones. Also, 7. Now, this week we saw them give away $1 million, $1 million minute. Did it make up? Did the money sort of pay for the ratings?
Reward? Yeah, look, they did. The show did fantastically well, and the key thing about that 5:30 slot is it's supposed to feed a big audience into your news. So 7's news got a massive bump, and they did some really impressive figures. Really got their news back on track in Sydney and Melbourne. The trick now for them, of course, will be to hold on to that news audience. The 5:30 numbers have slipped back into the old pattern a little bit, but the good thing is they got a big sample of their news bulletins, particularly in Sydney and Melbourne where they needed it. So they'll be hoping some of those new viewers will stay on.
Did they heavily promote that program, the winner?
Yeah, they did. Look, it was massive. And it took a long time, too. The good thing about it was that he was close to winning $1 million, I think, for the best part of 2 weeks. Okay. So there was lots of build-up.
They've had time to build up the
absolutely.
suspense.
And they made the most of it, and it finally happened.
All right, we've been talking a lot about Top Gear of late because of Jeremy Clarkson obviously being dropped by the BBC. They're still going to do their Top Gear live, so people who are planning on going in Sydney and Melbourne can still attend, but there's some changes, aren't there?
Sure. The Sydney shows were going to be this month. They've been pushed back to mid-year now, and they'll be
because of the dropping.
Yeah, because of all this. So they need to really sort out what they're doing. It looks like they're going to call it Clarkson, Hammond and May Live. So they've dropped the Top Gear branding.
Is BBC distancing itself from it?
Well, they sort of have to, I guess. If Clarkson doesn't work for the brand anymore, they can't really do that. So it's a third-party company that has some involvement with the BBC that actually runs these live events. So they're going to go through that. And because they'd already been selling tickets, they already feel a commitment to the audience, so they want to follow through and do that.
To be honest, it's probably going to be a winner for them in terms of the publicity that's been garnered around it.
If you didn't have a ticket to see Clarkson before, I think you'll probably want to get one now, just to see what he gets up to live. What this means long term for the brand remains to be seen. There's 3 episodes left in the most recent series which haven't gone to air. They're trying to edit together stuff to let them meet that commitment, and then it remains to be seen what'll happen long term to that top tier brand.
Interesting times. James, that does wrap up Media Week, unfortunately, for this week. A big thank you to our co-host, editor and publisher of Media Week, James Manning. From the team here, though, thanks for your company.